Hey everybody, welcome to a Supreme Phantom Vintage Cube draft. Too many modifiers on that sentence. We're going to try and play this one quickly because I don't have a lot of time to record, but I just did a bunch of these on stream, and we have 3-0'd two of them. They're tons of fun. So it's Vintage Cube packs, but it's a Supreme draft, and so you can get duplicates of things like the Power 9, which is pretty awesome, I might say. So we're going to start with Wheel of Fortune. And basically you pick things that are really good in Vintage Cube, but you pick things that are especially good if you have like multiples of them. So like Tinker and Moxen. I don't think I've had a draft without at least a Mox yet, which is pretty sweet. We're definitely taking Wheel of Fortune. Kind of want to take Counterspell. I'm not sure if that's correct. You know what? Let's do it. Pack 2. With all the broken fast mana, Mind Twist is very good. Frost Titan is also quite good. I kind of want to try drafting Fun Police in this format, though it would not be as good as it normally is. I have a feeling. We could take Frost Titan and Steam Vents, or Blood Crypt as well, but don't know exactly what we're doing yet. So, alright, we got a Mox Emerald, which is an off-color Mox, but it's still good. We can take Time Warp, which is a lot of fun. We can also take Muldrifter, Signet, Misty Rainforest, or Turnabout. I kind of like Rakdos Signet because it does help with the Mind Twist plan, and it also fits in nice with Wheel of Fortune. So I'm going to take those two cards. Because like when you have a draw 7 like Wheel of Fortune, one of the best things you can do with it is just play out your hand if you go first, and then dump it all, like make your opponent dump their hand and you draw 7, then they draw 7. So Daze is very strong. There is Splinter Twin in this pack. We could play like a red-blue Splinter Twinny deck. You know what? Let's go for it. Let's try the Splinter Twin thing. Tinker. I am absolutely going to take a Tinker. We have a Mox. We got another Mox in this pack. Sad to pass on Brazen Borrower and Seasoned Pyromancer, but I'm going to take these two cards. Odds that we see something we can tinker into is pretty high. We just have to keep an eye out for it. So Restoration Angel combos with Kiki. It does not combo with Splinter Twin. There is an Inkwell, which is a good tinker target. There's another Rakdos Signet. So I think I'm going to take these two cards. Okay, pack number 7 of 18. There's a Volcanic Island I like because we are red-blue. There's a Mishra's Workshop, which I don't really think fits in this deck super well. Wear and Tear is pretty good. Utility. This is not empty the Warren's deck. I think I'm just going to take Commit to Memory. Why is Krark the Thumbless in here? Is there any other... Oh, it's for Storm. I understand. I misread what it said. So we're going to take Volcanic Island and Commit to Memory. Mox Ruby is really good. And there's a Mana Drain, too. Frantic Search, Dimir Signet would both be good, but we're already on triple Mox plan, so let's go. I probably should have looked at that last pack a little bit harder. So what do we got here? We got a Sneak Attack, there's an Emrakul, there's an Ancient Tomb, Soulfire Grandmaster. We did pass on a Time Warp. I don't know if I want to splash for it either. I think we take Sneak Attack and Coalition Relic. I'm actually going to take Sneak Attack and Emrakul. Alright, pack number 10. Mana Drain number 2. See, this is where things start to get really crazy. We can take Mana Drain number 2 and Cryptic Command I like a lot. Scarab God would be okay, but we're not playing a deck that has a ton of creatures that Scarab God can really reanimate. There's also a Seasoned Pyromancer, which could be very good. But I'm going to take the Broken Counter Spells. Hull Breacher is absurd because we have a draw 7. I just played a Storm deck where my primary win condition was to play Hull Breacher, untap, and play Time Twister. And it was one of the meanest things I've ever done to a human being. Hull Breacher is also hilarious because of cards like Brainstorm, as an example. I played Hull Breacher versus a guy who played Brainstorm, and my opponent got to draw no cards. He gave me 3 mana, and he had to put 2 cards from his hand back on top of his deck. It was absurdly brutal. So I think we're going to take Hull Breacher and Through the Breach here. High Tide is a possibility, because High Tiding into Frost Titan or High Tiding into Emrakul is not that unlikely. But I think Through the Breach is better just because we do have the Emrakul. We're kind of playing a more control-y deck than just a straight-up High Tide deck. I don't know, that's actually kind of tough. We're definitely taking Hull Breacher, though. Okay, pack number 12. We have Young Pyro, Spell Pierce, Gush, and Mana Crypt. Continuing on my fast mana is Broken Rant. Triple Mox, Mana Crypt seems pretty good. We don't actually have that many spells, so Young Pyro is not as good. I think the play here is to take Mana Crypt and Spell Pierce. I've kind of been underpicking card draw, so Gush could be the correct choice here, but I like having this early interaction because this format is wicked fast, right? Kozilek is another sneak attack through the breach target, and there's a Force of Negation, and I love free counter spells in this format. I think it's absolutely critical. I'm going to take these two cards. Kind of sad to pass on Char, Flame Slash, and Turnabout. Force of Will, Dak Faden, hands down, no argument to be made. At all, actually, yeah. Those two cards are so good, nothing else in that pack was worth considering. There's a Jace the Mind Sculptor and a Chain Lightning. We could splash white for Fractured Identity. There's also a Shelldock Isle, which is another way we can actually cast an Emrakul, but in this format, I think it's just a little bit too slow. So we're going to take the Burn and the Planeswalker, and we are definitely playing a control deck right now. I like Ponder here. Misty's not bad, because it can fetch up Volcanic Island. Flooded Strand might be a little bit better. Abrade is strong as removal. We don't really need the fetch lands, because we're not playing anything that's really double red at the moment. I think I'm going to take the Abrade. We have lots of blue. We don't have a lot of removal for stuff on board, but we don't really need it. We have so many big counter spells. We'll take Abrade Ponder. Okay, second to last pack. We could get a third Kozilek. I like Time Warp. I think Time Warp is going to be very good, especially if we get something like Sneak Attack. We can Time Warp and do crazy shenanigans. Do I want another Kozilek? You know what? I'm going to say that I do. We're going to take Time Warp and Kozilek. And final pack, Mox Jet. We can even take Deceiver Exarch and have the twin combo. We found twin. So out of all the cards you pick, you're only going to cut about 5. So this is a Quadra Mox crazy shenanigans deck. So all 5 of those cards are basically lands in this format. We are going to group creatures separately, and we're going to cut a few things that just don't quite make the cut. Even though we have Rakdos Signets and tons of I think because we have the Mox Jet and 2 Rakdos Signets, I think Mind Twist is actually playable in this deck. Tinker, we can tinker out an Inkwell very quickly. It's not as good as a Blightsteel, but it is still very good. I am going to cut 1 Kozilek. I think only having 2 of these is fine. And I need to get down to 24 cards, which means I need to cut probably about 5 more cards. Which sucks, because we have so many good cards. It's like, how do you cut cards like this? Honestly, I think I'm going to cut the twin combo. We don't have that much fixing. We're only splashing red. It is a 2-card combo, as opposed to like several 1-card combos off of big mana that we have. So I think I'm just going to go with that. It gets 2 cards out of the deck here. Commit to Memory is, I think, our worst counterspell effect, because we have 2 mana drains, a counterspell, a daze, a spell pierce, a Force of Negation, and a Cryptic. Time Warp might be a little ambitious, but it does seem really sweet if we can get it to work. I think I am going to take it out, because it's just like, I can't. The rest of the deck is too good. Chain Lightning is also kind of questionable. Like, we have a Braid, and a Braid has the Destroy Artifact mode, which is way more relevant over being 1 mana, even. We also don't have to delay for a super long time. So most of the threats that come down early that we care about are going to get hit either by our free counter spells or our regular counter spells. I guess if we go against an aggro deck, which is not likely, we can bring it in, but okay. Add basic lands. 1 mountain, 8 island, no fetch lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red sources to splash single red all the way up the curve. Everything else is blue. I somehow didn't get the right number of islands added to this. I like how it goes no swamps. We're playing Mind Twist, no swamps, because we have Mox Jet and 2 Rakdos Signet. Let's do it. I think this is an excellent deck here. We have tons of curve toppers, lots of ways to win the game, and a very solid, powerful 0 to 2 mana curve. If you have Moto and you get the chance, I highly recommend that you play this format, because it's tons of fun. Just draft. Blue is always open, which is why it's really fun. Everyone plays blue. You get the opportunity to play with cards that are very powerful, and every deck is crazy. So, like, if you lose to something more absurd than what you're doing, it's not really a feels bad moment. It's like an, oh my god, did that just happen? Like, what is this nonsense? And that's a fun time. Alrighty, here we go, round 1. Alright, this isn't super fantastic, but it could be a quick mind twist. I think I'm going to mulligan, though. I want something a little faster if I can get it. And this looks like it. Of the 2 giant Eldrazi, we can't actually cast Counterspell. You know what? We're going to 5. This is so bad. Okay. Alright, sure. Oh, I should have just kept my 7. Oh well. I'd have to put 2 back, which would probably be like Through the Breach Kozilek. Alright, well, let's try it. We're probably going to get completely obliterated, but my opponent also mulliganed to 5, so... They start Shelldock Isle. They get to hide away something. Okay, we untap, we draw... Mox Emerald, okay. Island, Mox, play Signet. Then we will pass the turn. Next turn we can hold up Flash Hull Breacher or play a Braid. We could also Wheel of Fortune. Wow, alright. I got a Solemn Simulacrum. That is a very painful mana base. Because they're potentially taking a Lightning Bolt every turn, and they have to pay 2 to use Ancient Tomb for anything. They get an island. We untap, we draw an island. So play an island and pass the turn. It might be correct to just destroy Mana Crypt here, but I'm kind of sensing a big draw of something happening here. So I'm going to try and Flash Hull Breacher first. Next turn, if we happen to draw one of our mountains, we could potentially Abrade and then Wheel. And in that case, I would Abrade Mana Crypt. Opponent's going to go to combat, attack us for 2, sure. No blocks. Take 2, go to 18, and they pass. So on their end step, let's go ahead and Hull Breacher. See if they got a counter spell. Commit. They put it into our library, second from the top. Alright. We untap. We draw Mox Ruby. Perfect. Play Mox Ruby. Destroy Mana Crypt. And then we're going to Wheel. Opponent's last 2 cards in hand were Expansion Explosion and Phyrexian Metamorph. Play an island. Play a Mox Pearl. And pass the turn. We have a Force of Will. Inkwell is 9 mana, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. We're actually pretty close to casting an Inkwell Leviathan. Maybe I should have waited on that Hull Breacher. Because Hull Breacher plus draw 7 is just absolutely bonkers, and now my opponent has cards in hand. That may have been a little greedy, but... I mean, we've only played 3 Moxes. Alright. Opponent plays a Golgari Signet, that's fine. They play a Mountain. 4 mana, they're going to play Jace. Well, I will have to force this, because that's too much card selection. If I had 1 more mana, Jace Brainstorm would be so bad, but I think we got to do it. And I got to pitch Inkwell, because if I don't, and my opponent had a free counterspell there, Hull Breacher would be like our only chance of staying in this game. We untap. Draw Spell Pierce, play an island. I could just try and play and resolve a Hull Breacher, I mean. It's not likely that they have more on-board removal than they do actual counter spells. That was a chance for us to, like, if they had a free counter spell that for some reason they didn't protect Jace with, we had a Spell Pierce. Okay, opponent plays a Mox. They play a land. They cast a Shark Typhoon. Spell Pierce? Use the rest of your mana, please. They do. That is unfortunate. They were able to resolve a Shark Typhoon. We untap. We draw a Cryptic Command. I could recoil the Shark Typhoon, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I just play an island and pass here. When it untaps, they draw a card. The thing about Hull Breacher is it's even more punishing than Narset, because it's like, Narset lets you draw 1 card every turn, so 1 on your opponent's potentially 2. Hull Breacher does not. Hull Breacher only lets them draw during their draw step, and at no other point. 3 mana, opponent plays a Coalition Relic. Sure. They get a Flying Shark token. Oh, do let me know if the audio sounds better or not. We're going to counter and draw. I found out that my noise gate was kind of messing with the regular audio that I had, which was causing the volume to fluctuate and me to sound a little robotic. And I found that in my current setup, I don't actually need it. So let me know what you guys think about the audio quality. We untap, we draw, Force of Negation. 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we've lost, unfortunately. We did mulligan pretty low, though. Opponent puts a charge counter on Coalition Relic. Takes counter off Coalition Relic. Adds white. Also, Shark Typhoon plus opposition just feels dirty. Opponent casts a card from Shelldock Isle. Mindslaver? Alright. Yeah, that's game. Okay. I don't think I'm going to make any adjustments. I think I'm going to run it back as is and just hopefully not mulligan to 5. I mean, in theory, our opening hand could be 4 Mox's land sneak attack Emrakul, so... I'm going to keep this hand off the strength of Force and Counterspell. If I have to Force, I'm probably pitching Frost Titan. Any artifact gets us to Tinker, which gets us to Inkwell. So play an island, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play an island. We untap. Draw Mox Emerald, play Mox Emerald. And now we get to Tinker with Force back up. Alright, it resolves. We'll get Inkwell Leviathan. Pass the turn. Opponent has 3 swings till they die. And we have Island Walk. Okay, opponent plays Mox Emerald. Opponent plays Mana Crypt. 5 mana, Bribery. Force of Will, because we're playing Emrakul. Really glad my opponent didn't have a free counterspell there. We would have been absolutely toast. Hit our opponent for 7. They're potentially on a 2-turn clock if they lose 2 Mana Crypt flips. Okay, they did not lose the first one. Opponent plays Prismatic Vista, cracks Prismatic Vista. I think Tinker is one of the best cards in this format. Mindslaver. We'll counterspell that. We untap, we draw Wheel of Fortune, go to combat. Attack for 7. Hit our opponent to 5. Opponent wins another Mana Crypt flip, but they have to answer an Inkwell, and they can't. So it's on to game 3. This format's just so absurd. I love it. I love this format. Because it's like everyone's playing a top-tier Vintage Cube deck. But, like, the top end for these decks is higher than actual Vintage. Because, like, you can play more than 9 power 9. Like, and that's pretty good, I heard. So we're going to keep. Spell Pierce is very strong, especially early. Opponent starts Swamp. Mox Sapphire. This is getting scary. And Dimir Signet. Okay. We draw Island. I think we're going to go Island, Mox Pearl, Rakdos Signet. Maybe we should leave up Spell Pierce and just play a little bit safer and play Rakdos Signet next turn. Actually, I'm going to do that. Because my opponent could play like a Jace here, and if I'm tapped out, then there's just nothing I can do. This does take us off of a fast Jace, unless we top deck another Mox. Black freaking Lotus. Okay, you got it. If they cast Shark Typhoon, we can Spell Pierce Shark Typhoon. Alright. 5 mana. Bribery. Spell Pierce? Oh, man. We just dodged an Emrakul. Did you guys see that? Because I felt it. Play Rakdos Signet, pass the turn. I mean, like, we would have been able to play Jace and then unsummon? No, we wouldn't have. Alright, play an island. Play Rakdos Signet. Play Jace. Jace resolves. Brainstorm. Put back Mana Drain, Dak Faden. Pass the turn. Alright, we untap. Draw Dak Faden, play an island. Play Dak Faden with Cryptic Command backup. Gain control of Dimir Signet. Brainstorm with Jace. Put back... Yeah, we were winning. We won that game. Oh, man. The opponent kept a one-trick hand, and we had the... We played the right line and played the... played the right removal. I'm really, really happy and pleased with myself that I decided to leave up that Spell Pierce, because it was like, tapping out there just didn't feel right. Alright, round 2, here we go. I'll play first. Yeah, this is a fast Hull Breacher. We have Daze to back it up, too. We could potentially catch a Ancestral Recall or a Brainstorm effect. I played against a guy with 2 Time Walks and 2 Ancestral Recalls in his deck. Can you imagine how crazy that pile of 40 cards was? The guy was playing Mirari Conjecture because Time Walk becomes Time Stretch, and he recycles a Time Walk, and it was just nuts. And if you want to see these things, make sure to check out my 12-16 stream VOD of this year, which is where those plays are located. So we are going to start Mox Emerald into a Rakdos Signet. We have Daze to back this up if my opponent was to force for some reason. Play Signet. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play an island and they pass. I would love to see them Brainstorm on their end step. That would be the end of the game. We draw Mana Drain. Play an island, pass the turn, because we have no reason to play anything at sorcery speed. Like, this hand right now is nasty. Okay, opponent plays Prismatic Vista. Cracks Prismatic Vista. Gets a Plains. Plays a Soul Ring. This is not a big mana drain, but I guess it doesn't have to be. Opponent has a Spell Pierce, and we can Daze the Spell Pierce. And it's a pretty wimpy mana drain, but I think I'm okay with it. We untap, we draw. Now the question is, do we just play out Hull Breacher? Or do we try and nab a spell with it? I think we just play it out at this point. Because if my opponent didn't have Force to protect that stack, they weren't going to use Force on a Hull Breacher. Phantasmal Image on a Hull Breacher. Alright, we draw Mana Crypt. Play an island, pass the turn, no attacks. I think it's more likely my opponent draws than we do. Soulfire Grandmaster is very concerning. We draw Mox Jet, play an island, pass the turn. My opponent could be playing the Time Walk combo. They play a Bloodstained Mire, they crack it. They fail to find. They play a Mox Ruby and pass. We untap and draw Kozilek. We have 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. Alright, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Wasteland. Attacks us for 3, no blocks. We'll take 3. Draw Frost Titan. Play Mox Jet. Play Mana Crypt. We really desperately want this Frost Titan to resolve, which is why we're playing around Daze and we're playing around Mana Leak. Alright, we get remanded. And that gives us a treasure. Alright, pass the turn. Because if we can get this Frost Titan to land, we can kill our opponent's Hull Breacher with it. Countering Wasteland by playing Mono Basics. Feels pretty good. Okay, no blocks. Second Wasteland. Alright, Mana Crypt. Tails never fails. Let's go. Tails, we win the flip. We draw Ponder. Replay Frost Titan. Kill Hull Breacher. Ponder. Oh yeah, that's probably game. We will not shuffle. We're going to go ahead and just Wheel of Fortune, get 7 mana. Draw 7 cards. Opponent's last card in hand has to be a counterspell. Alright, we are now light years away on the board. Oh, see how dirty that is? It's just disgusting. Like, that man probably had a family. Like, and like, then you look at a hand like this and you're like, why would I ever keep this? This hand just doesn't do anything. Alright, yep, that's a keep. I mean, we're not playing Mana Drain for a while, so I could probably put back Mana Drain. But I think I'm going to put back Frost Titan. It's more likely that we draw like an island or a blue source. Alright, opponent starts island. We draw Emrakul. So, Volcanic Island, Mox Pearl, Rakdos Signet. Pass the turn. Opponent Spell Pierces the Signet, which makes me sad inside. Pass the turn. They play a Wasteland. No! The Fiend! And we drew the island we were hoping for. Pass the turn. And now we don't have red mana, and that's a problem. Okay. Opponent's turn. They have nothing, so it's an awkward stare down. We draw a Mox Emerald, which we can play. but it unfortunately does not tap for any color of mana that is useful to us. So I'd really like to draw red mana, I'd really like to draw blue mana, I'd really like to draw Tinker. Opponent suspends a Riftwing Cloudskate. There's Tinker. So Tinker, sack the green Mox, get Inkwell Leviathan, which unfortunately for my opponent has Shroud. Now if I could just draw another blue source to protect this with a mana drain, I'd feel pretty good about things. Opponent plays a Bloodstained Mire, cracks Bloodstained Mire, gets a Swamp. I think a Toxic Deluge X11 that would kill it. Mind Twist us. Oh, okay, and it shuffled back in. That's what happened there. Let's go ahead and Ponder, because we are looking for blue mana. We don't really want any of this. We're going to put it back in any order and shuffle. Getting an island. Perfect. And the game is over. Wow. I think I do pretty good at this format. Of course, this is like really the only deck you should be drafting is just like quick artifact interaction and blue spells. That's really all you should have, quite honestly. This is going to be a very short video too, which I'm thankful for because I did just stream. But we're also having a lot of fun, and so I'm gonna record a few more of these. I don't know how well they're gonna do because I think this format might get kind of boring to watch. But I'm having a lot of fun, and we're doing ridiculous things, so we are going to keep this. We have a Hull Breacher backed up by a Force of Will, and we can do it on turn 1. I mean, that's pretty good, right? So we'll start Island, Mox Emerald, Mana Crypt, pass the turn. My opponent mulliganed to 5. You know when your opponent plays out a Mana Crypt on turn 1? Something crazy is about to go down, especially when they don't cast anything on their turn. Opponent plays an Island, plays a Mox Jet, plays a Mox Sapphire, plays a Mana Crypt. Oh man, what is this? Glen Elandra Archmage. So I'm going to force this, pitching Mana Drain. Then on my opponent's end step, I'm going to play Hull Breacher. Alright, we untap. Tails never fails. We win the flip. We draw a Braid. So play a Volcanic Island, go to combat, attack for 3, and I think I'm going to leave them with Mana Crypt just because I don't want them, you know, I need them to have a clock of some kind. But I think I'm going to destroy Glen Elandra Archmage, blue or black mana. I'm going to destroy, you know, it's a good chance that they probably are just a blue deck and they're not actually playing black spells, because what are the odds of having 2 on-color Moxes, right? So we're going to destroy the Mox Sapphire, and we're going to leave them with the Mana Crypt, because they can't draw additional cards for as long as we have Hull Breacher, which means they're going to be in a hurry looking for a way to deal with our Hull Breacher, then have to deal with their own Mana Crypt, and then probably die to their own Mana Crypt while all of this is happening. Now, they could be like us and win all of their flips, and that just proves the Magic Gods are favoring them. 3 mana on their end step. Opponent plays their own Hull Breacher. Tails. We lose the flip. We draw Wheel of Fortune. This is so hard, and I blew the Abrade. Oh, that was so bad. I can give us both 7 treasures, but then they would get to use it first. I think I offer the trade. Alright. Second main. I'm going to Wheel of Fortune. Oh yeah, that turned out way better for me. So play an island. I could play out the Rakdos Signet, but you know what? We have 2 counterspell effects. I think this is fine. We're going to pass, and we're going to look to be mana draining something. Opponent loses their Mana Crypt flip. Force of Negation. I'll basically force anything they play and pitch Ponder. Probe. I do not want this. I do not want them to know what's happening. Yes, I think it is that important. I do not want them to know that a Mind Twist is coming. Jace Vryn's Prodigy. Alright. That I can mana drain. Okay. We untap. Upkeep. Tails never fails. Heads, we lose the flip. Draw Signet. Add colorless. Play Signet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mind Twist you X5. Playing around days. You force? Oh no. Opponent pitches Phantasmal Image. Alright, pass the turn. we're each trying to see who could kill ourselves slower because we're both dying to our own mana crypts. Alright, opponent plays a Volcanic Island and passes. We untap, mana crypt, tails. We win the flip. We draw Mox Jet, play Signet, play out Mox Jet, pass the turn. Alright, so now we have Counterspell for the first bad thing that heads our way. Oh no. Here it is. The bad thing, TM. All rights reserved. Oh no. Oh, that's so bad. That's like absolutely gonna kill us bad. Oh, we gotta draw something insane and very quickly. Shark Typhoon just being an uncounterable threat is a problem. Alright. Opponent goes to combat. Attacks us for 4. No blocks, of course. We go to 9. Nope. Pass the turn. We untap. Mana Crypt, tails. Heads, we lose the flip. We draw Emrakul. Okay, pass the turn. Not doing anything on our opponent's turn. Okay. That's pretty good. Deck Fade's pretty good. Opponent plays a Grim Monolith, no cards in hand, hits us for 4, we go to 2. Mana Crypt Tails never fails, we win the flip and draw Kozilek. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 mana away, and unfortunately, our opponent gets game 1. I actually think Commit to Memory might be worth it here. I don't know over what, though. It's just like if my opponent sticks something on board, maybe we need to be committing it back into the deck. It is also technically another draw 7 that synergizes with Hull Breacher very, very well. I'm just going to run it back. Oh, man. Alrighty. We will get to play first. I mean, this is a turn 1 Hull Breacher, but I worry I die to my own Mana Crypt. I think we can actually get a better start than that. Like this. This works. Just turn 1 Inkwell Leviathan, and we don't die to our own Mana Crypt. Kind of a gamble, though. If my opponent does have a force, we could be in trouble. So let's go for it. Island, Mana Crypt, Tinker, Inkwell, pass the turn. Opponent plays an island, Ancestral Recalls to 9 cards, probes us to see what's going on, and then has to discard to hand size. So they discard 2 Commit to Memories. Okay. We draw Mox Ruby, play an island, play Mox Ruby, Wheel of Fortune. Opponent discards Mana Crypt, Glenalandra, Island, Ancestral Recall, Narset, Phantasmal Image, Steam Vents. My opponent has 2 Ancestral Recalls. Oh, man. Alright, well, attack for 7. Take them to 11. Next turn we have Spell Pierce Counterspell to try and disrupt whatever could be happening next. Oh, it's not just they have 2 Ancestral Recalls. They have 2 Ancestral Recalls that we know about. Yeah, alright, run it back. I mean, like, I'm not going to play Splinter Twin against my opponent's deck. Alright, game 3, here we go. This is for the trophy. Ooh. This is a Tinker with Daze backup, / potentially a Hull Breacher. If we top deck another Mox, I'm going to keep this. It's a little risky, but the payoff is huge. The payoff is like win the game huge. So, opponent did mulligan to 6. They start probe. They see what's going on. They're going to know we have Daze. They play an island, and they Ancestral Recall to 7 cards. Alright. So they play a Mox, we untap. We draw Mox, play an island, play Mox Ruby, play Mox Pearl, Tinker, sack Mox Pearl, and we'll get an Inkwell. Pass the turn. Before anybody says that that wasn't very likely, we had 3 more Moxes and a Mana Crypt to draw, so it was pretty likely. Plus we have Daze to protect this. Opponent plays an island. Ancestral Recalls again. 8 cards. Mana Crypt, okay. And then they're passing. So we untap. We draw. Kozilek. Go to combat. Attack for 7. So our opponent is on a 3-turn clock or a 2-turn clock if they lose both Mana Crypt flips. So pass the turn. Opponent plays a Hull Breacher. That's fine. We're not really anticipating drawing more cards. I guess if my opponent has a draw 7, that could potentially be catastrophic, but they Ancestral Recall us. They have 3 Ancestral Recalls, so they just Dark Ritualed. I mean, it's a Dark Ritual that sticks around on board and makes 3 Lotus Petals instead of adding 3 mana. That's pretty disgusting. So let's see if they have an outlet for all of this mana. They play Torrential Gearhulk, and they can flashback Ancestral Recall. This is the 4th Ancestral Recall my opponent has cast of this game, targeting us again. Okay. They get to add mana, and they're going to cast Time Twister. So we're going to discard our hand, and they're going to get 7 cards out of the deal. We are going to daze this. They'll just sack a treasure and pay for it. Should be no big deal at all for them. I think the only way we lose here is if my opponent has a storm win condition that isn't Brain Freeze. Like, potentially they could also have, like, Cryptic Taps for Inkwell and stuff like that, too. So we're not, like, guaranteed to win. I just think it's not super likely we lose. But I'm not going to discount the possibility of it. We do have 2 Eldrazi that will shuffle back in the event of a Brain Freeze kill in our deck. Alright, another Time Twister. Moto has crashed. Okay. Does my opponent just have infinite Time Twisters? There's a Black Lotus involved. Oh man, if I'm losing, I want to lose like this. Look at this! Look at this nonsense! My opponent has 15 damage on board. If they can find 5 more, or actually if they can find 2 more damage, we lose. Because we take 3 this turn, go to 17, and my opponent then hits us for 15, and we would be at 2. Okay, Shark Typhoon does do it. So we actually lost after playing, what was that, a turn 1 Inkwell again? Or turn 2 Inkwell? We only hit them with it once, and then they played Hull Breacher and cast 5 Time Twister effects to storm off. That is how you lose. Like, I'm not even mad. Like, look at how absolutely bonkers what my opponent is doing is. And they just cast Commit to Memory as basically as a ritual. They have another Phantasmal Image? What did this come from? Oh, Phyrexian Metamorph, okay. Look at how sweet my opponent's deck is. Like, I just want to see the logical conclusion of this. I'm not, like, I would scoop, but I want to see this. Opponent is just showing off at this point. They're casting Recalls, they're casting Probes. Another Time Twister. I'm pretty sure this is infinite. They have so few cards actually in their deck because they've played out so many. Like, the only way that we could have beat this is if they had left us with 1 mana more than we had. Like, if they didn't commit that Mana Rock that we had, and we had, like, a Time Walk in our deck. Which would be an even more absurd way to, like, come back from this, right? Because my opponent just stormed off. Hull Breacher, Time Twister, Mono Blue Storm. Eat your heart out. Freaking High Tide. There's a new sheriff in town. Yeah, Moto's lagging so hard at this point, I can't actually concede. I would love to see what's happening right now. But, I don't think I'm going to get to. There's something vaguely happening in the top right corner of my screen. But only vaguely, because I'm saying cards aren't lined up exactly like they should be. Okay, at this point, I think I actually do want to concede. Because, like, I can't. Okay, opponent played a Jace. Yeah. declare blockers. Alright. What is happening right now? What is happening? We untap, we draw, Rakdos Signet. And we thought Inkwell Leviathan was good. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a fun one for me, and I'm going to do a few more of these in the limited slot, because Vintage Cube Supreme Draft is just... it's fun on a level that has not been seen for me for a while. So expect a few of these. They might get a little repetitive. I'll try and draft something a little bit different if I can, or something interesting at the very least. We had 3 good run-throughs in our last full stream VOD. I recommend that you go back and see that. That was the December 16th stream VOD. Highly recommend it. It was tons of fun. If you have Moto, please, I highly recommend that you play this format. Just draft something powerful. You should have a lot of fun. And yeah, I hope to see you guys next time. Please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, especially if you like this kind of content. We do more stuff like this whenever we can. And you can always follow me on Twitch, same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Been streaming a little bit earlier than that, but everything's still going okay. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye!